Reproduction, modes of reproduction and development in other organism or animals, right? So as previously I have explained to you, reproduction process can be of two types. Number one sexual mode, and number two asexual mode, right? So organism including human beings, animals, microorganisms can reproduce either through sexually or asexually, right? So normally higher multicellular organism which has a complex body design, they reproduce through sexual mode. For example, human beings, they can reproduce only through sexual mode, that is by the production of gametes, right? Previously we have already learned how humans reproduces. They reproduce by sexual mode, and what are the various characteristics? That production of gametes, right? Production of gametes, then fertilization, and yes, development of zygote. But in asexual mode of reproduction, what is the characteristics? There is no gamete. Okay, no gamete, no variation. Then offspring means the baby produced are genetically and phenotypically identical. Means they are the copy. They are the exact copy of their parents. Why it happens so? Why there is variation in sexual mode whereas there is no variation in asexual mode? What is the main reason behind it?
Because there is only one parent.
Yes, very good. Because in sexual mode there is only single parent in sexual mode there is two parents are involved, right? There are two parents and both the parents produces the respective gamete, upon the fusion of which zygote is formed, right? This is why there is variation. But in case of asexual mode, there is only single parent, right? So single parent is involved in the method of reproduction. So this is why there is no variation and the offspring produced are genetically and phenotypically same, that is identical to their parents. Okay. So that is about the asexual mode. And what are the organisms that follows asexual mode? The organisms like the hydra, amoeba, right, planaria, paramecium, etc. Means those unicellular organism as well as some multicellular organism also can reproduce asexually, like the plants, right? Plants reproduces asexually by vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation means in junior class you may have studied about reproduction through leaves like Rhizophyllum leaf, reproduction through stem like the rose or jasmine. You may have seen that the stem of the rose can be cut and put into the soil and it grows as a plant. So this is also a type of reproduction, but what kind of reproduction it is? It is vegetative and asexual. Vegetative means from its vegetative parts, right? There is no sex cells or the gametes are involved. Though the plants can also reproduce through sexually in case of a flowering plant, but even the flowering plant can reproduce asexually also, like I have given you the example of vegetative propagation, right? So that is one type of reproduction. But in case of asexual reproduction, there are some simpler organisms. For example, hydra, amoeba or yeast. Okay. there are organisms. For example, the organism known as the hydra or amoeba or yeast. Can you tell me which group they belong? Hydra is an animal or a plant? Hydra is an animal or a plant? No, it looks like plant, but it comes in the kingdom of Animalia. But simple, they have only up to the tissue level of body organization. They do not have a very distinct or a very complex parts and organs, right? So Hydra belongs to the kingdom Animalia. Then Anima, yes, microorganism. Which kingdom, which group or category it belongs? It belongs to protist. Okay, let me write here. It belongs to protist. They are unicellular, but Hydra is a multicellular animal, but simple body design, which belongs to the kingdom Animalia. Okay, and the phylum Coelenterata. Okay, phylum you can study in your higher class, but you should know that Hydra belongs to the kingdom Animalia, Anima belongs to the kingdom Protist or Protista, and yeast belongs to the kingdom Fungi. Very good. So there are 5 major kingdoms of whatever living organism that exists on earth. They are broadly being classified under 5 major kingdoms, right? Out of which there are Monera, those are the bacteria. Then Protista. Protista are also unicellular, but they have eukaryotic type of cell, means their cell is well formed, you can see, right? And then fungi. Fungi neither belongs to animal nor belongs to plant. They are multicellular, eukaryotic and non-photosynthetic. That's why they are white in color. Fungi. Example, the mushroom also belongs to fungi. But I am considering here the yeast. Okay, so these organisms, they reproduce to asexually by various means. For example, in case of Hydra and yeast, there is a mode of reproduction or the method known as budding. Right?
Yes.
So with budding, you can say by budding how the organism reproduce. They form bud-like structure. Okay. For example, the yeast cell which have a bud like this. So the mother cell, they form buds like this on their body, and upon maturation they will detach from the bud. Right? They will become single cell. So in this way it will reproduce. Right? So here this cell and this cell, they will be identical. They will be genetically similar because they have come from the single parent. Okay? So this process is known as budding. Whereas in case of Hydra, what kind of body design they have? The Hydra, they have tentacles. They have tentacles like this, and they have a body like this, right? And they attach on their structure. They are strictly marine. They are predominantly marine. So these are known as the tentacles. They may look like plants. That's why you may have said it plants. But these are tentacles, and this is the body which is attached with substratum, right? So on the body of the Hydra, they form a young bud-like structure which resembles to their parent body, something like this. Okay. So later on, these buds will detach from the mother body, and it will become a single Hydra. Right? So this is how reproduction occurs. So such process of reproduction is called budding. So did you understand? Okay. Now, like amoeba, there is another one type of asexual reproduction or method of reproduction by which organisms reproduce, which is known as fission or binary fission. Okay. So binary fission is also one type. By binary fission, how do organisms reproduce? This binary fission is almost like a cell division. Okay, so binary fission is strictly for unicellular organism only. In case of unicellular organism, cell division will be a method of reproduction also. Yes or no? As they have only one cell, so whenever cell divides means it will multiply, means it is reproducing itself, right? So this is what happens in case of amoeba. The amoeba, they have an irregularly body shape, right? These are known as the pseudopodia. This pseudopodia helps them for movement. In the previous lesson you may have studied. You have studied, yes or no? So the pseudopodia are finger-like outgrowths or false feet, which are the extension of their cell membrane, right? So how do they reproduce? They reproduce by fission. How does fission happens? In case of fission, what happens? The cell gets divided. Before the cell or the body, I mean the amoeba divides, it will divide the nuclear material or the nucleus, right? So it will be like the nucleus will start to divide first of all, right? Then say this is the body of the amoeba, and slowly there will be a furrow, it will be separated, and then it will become two new daughter amoeba, right? So here in this diagram you can see how it is reproducing. It is reproducing by fission, by the mechanism of mitosis cell division. You can see where the cell divides and becomes from 1 to 2. Did you understand? From 1 cell to 2 cell. So these are the daughter amoeba. So this is in case of amoeba, and the method of reproduction is called fission. So what are the various types of reproduction we have studied in asexual mode? One is fission, the another one as budding, right? So apart from budding and fission, there are some more methods by which organism reproduces asexually, like spore formation. Like let's write here on top, like spore formation, then fragmentation, okay, fragmentation, then there is vegetative propagation, etc. Right? So these are some types. The one which I have written in blue, these are also some types. So budding, fission, spore formation, fragmentation, and vegetative propagation. So in case of spore formation, this is common in fungi because the spores are present in the air. So whenever they get a suitable medium, okay, so for example a suitable temperature or an organic substrate, they grow on that particular medium, right? So that is by spore formation. Then fragmentation is the breaking of the body parts. This is common in algae like Spirogyra. This is also we have studied in our previous lesson about fragmentation in algae called the Spirogyra. Then vegetative propagation, as I already mentioned, that the organism, especially the plants, they reproduce to its vegetative parts, including the stem, the root, leaf, etc. Now we will see the types of fertilization. Okay. So fertilization, as we know, what is fertilization? What is fertilization? What is the definition of fertilization? Say, fertilization is the fusion of gametes. Right? Fusion of gamete is called fertilization. And this characteristic is of asexual or sexual reproduction? Sexual mode of reproduction. Right? So in sexual mode of reproduction, there is fertilization. Right? So this fertilization can be internal. This fertilization can be either internal and external. Internal and external fertilization. So with the name internal, we can understand it is in vivo. There is another word in vivo. In vivo means inside the body. Inside the body. Or Internal, in vivo, inside the body, or external means in vitro. We also, there is a word which is also known as in vitro. Vitro means vitreous, in a glass. But these are used in artificial method of reproduction, which we shall discuss later on. But the opposite of in vivo, in vitro means outside the body, right? Outside the body. Now let us understand here, if fertilization is internal, if fertilization happens inside the body, where does it happen? Inside the body of a female, right? Where does fertilization occurs? Fertilization occurs inside the body of the female, and the development also continues inside the body of the female, not in the body of male, right? That is about internal fertilization. And the other one, in case of external fertilization, where does fertilization occurs? Here, the fertilization occurs in water. That is the natural medium. So external fertilization are followed by the aquatic organism, or the organism who lives in water, or even among some plants like the bryophytes, algae, or the pteridophytes. So they release their gamete in the water. That's why you will always find those organisms near to the water source, right? In case of animals like the amphibians, the fishes, they reproduce sexually, but fertilization is external. They release their gamete in the water, and in the water the gamete meet each other and they fertilize. They are fertilized and the zygote is developed. Because after fertilization, what is the next step? That is formation of zygote and then development. We know that what is the next step of reproduction? Development. Okay, about that also we shall discuss. So here what did I say? That in case of external fertilization, it occurs in water. It means the aquatic organisms normally, most of the time, their fertilization is external, right? But of course there are some exceptions, like as I mentioned, the fishes fertilization is external. But in some case of fishes like the shark, right? The shark, they have a cloaca and opening through which the gamete is introduced into the female body. That is an exception where fertilization is internal. But normally the aquatic organism, the fertilization is external. They release their gamete in the water, right? And naturally, naturally what happens in such cases? The organism produces their gamete in large number. Okay, so the organism which are going to fertilize externally, or the gametes are going to get fertilized externally, normally or naturally you can say that the number of gametes produced are in millions. Why number of gametes produced in large number? What is the reason? So that to ensure fertilization. If there is only one or two gametes, then what may happen? If there is only one or two gametes, then this gamete may wash away, or it may be taken away along the water current, and the male and female gamete may never encounter. That may happen if it is a very few number. Are you understanding me? But naturally, it's very interesting to know that in such cases, the number of gametes produced is very large. They produce in millions. So to ensure fertilization, if the number is more, then definitely there will be fertilization. Definitely there will be maximum chance of the contact between the male and the female gamete. Is that clear? Okay, so that is about external fertilization. Example, you can write fishes, or amphibians also you can write. Amphibians like the frog. The frog, they are the amphibians, they can live both on land and water. So their fertilization is also external, as they release their gamete in the water. Whereas in case of internal fertilization, you can write those of mammals. Mammals, internal fertilization, example mammals, like you can write dog, right? Even the reptiles also, there is internal fertilization. So this is about fertilization, our first part. Now, in case of a sexual reproduction, there is the next step. After fertilization, what is the next step? After fertilization, what is the next step? Formation of zygote and development. Right? After fertilization, zygote development you can see. Zygote development. So after fertilization, what happens? Zygote is formed and it is developed into an embryo. So zygote development. Now zygote development also either outside or inside the body. So definitely, if the fertilization is external, then the development will be external only, right? So accordingly, there are two types you can say, which is known as oviparous and viviparous. Okay, so development can be either oviparous and viviparous. So oviparous means the meaning of oviparous is actually egg laying. Egg laying. For example, chickens or hen, let me write here, hen, or the bird. Bird, they lay eggs or not? Or even the reptiles like crocodile or snakes, they lay eggs. Tortoise, they lay eggs, right? Whereas in case of viviparous, the development is inside the mother's body. Okay, the development is inside the mother's baby, means these are egg laying, means these are what? They produce young ones. What is the meaning of viviparous? They produce young ones which are identical to them. It means after fertilization, the zygote development. It means as soon as fertilization happens, what happens? It forms zygote. Then this zygote may undergo development inside the body or outside the body. In two ways the development may take place. Right? So in case of development outside the body means those will be laying eggs. Those of birds. Right? So it means their zygote develop a hard calcareous cover. The egg you may have seen. Egg have you seen or not? So the outer covering is hard, which is protective. So you can say that egg is a single cell, diploid cell, which undergo development. Right? The chickens or the birds, they lay eggs. And what do they with their eggs? They hatch it out. After hatching only, the chickens, the baby chicks comes out. The baby of a bird is known as chicks. So the chicks comes out after hatching. And how many days the hatching goes on? Say 20 to 30 days approximately. Right? Hatching means what is hatching? The mother hen sits on it. While sitting, what he is doing actually? Warming. She is providing a temperature. So the temperature will help in developing the zygote into an embryo and form all the various parts of a chicken. And when these various parts are complete, then it will be hatched out. The egg will be broken and then the baby chick will come out of it. Right? So such type of development is external, which there is a special term called what? Oviparous. Oviparous animals or egg-laying animals. So the same is done in artificial medium, or by artificially the eggs are hatched out, especially in farm. Right? In farm, what happens? They provide artificial temperature which needed for the incubation, which we call as incubation. Okay, warming or providing temperature. What another word we have? Incubation. So they are incubated to complete their body parts. So that is about oviparous. Then viviparous animals, they are example the mammals. That is why these mammals have a separate group. What is the characteristics of mammals? The mammals give birth to their young ones, which is identical to them. Apart from giving birth, what do? They have hair on their body. That is the characteristics of the mammals. They have hairs on their body and they have glands. They have glands like mammary glands that secrete milk. And that milk is to nourish the young ones. The nourish the baby. You may have seen cow. Cow gives milk to nourish the calf. Right? Likewise, other animal, even the dog, the cat, after giving birth, they secrete milk which are fed to the young ones until they are, until they grow enough so that they can eat on other food items. Say in case of what example did I give? For example, cow. They give birth calf. As soon as the calf is born, they cannot feed on grasses. So they feed on the mother's milk, and also after some days they can feed on grasses as well. Okay, but still the milking process continues. The mother still continue to secrete milk until the calf is grown up to certain age, which is common. Which is same in case of humans as well. So in this way, humans are oviparous or viviparous? Viviparous. Human beings give birth to their young ones. It means fertilization is also internal and development is also internal in case of human. In my previous class, I have discussed about it, how development occurs. Where does development takes place? Inside the female's body, in the uterus. Do you remember? Development takes place in the uterus, right? After completion of all the important parts and organs, when the baby is fully matured and ready to be delivered or ready to be born, then it is delivered from the mother's body, right? But in case of oviparous animals, they used to lay eggs. That's why they take care of their eggs until they are hatched out. Okay, so until they are hatched out, even you may have seen in National Geographic channels or in some of the TV channels, you may have seen how animals take care of their eggs, especially in case of that bird. What is that bird called? Which looks like crow? The quail bird. The quail bird is too clever. It used to lay its egg on the nest of crow because they cannot recognize it, and it is hatched out. Not only that, even after the egg is hatched out, the parent used to take care of it. There are many examples. Even the eagle, they at a very great height they used to lay egg where it is very safe. Means it will not be predated by other animals. Predation means if the egg is not taken care of, it may be eaten away by other animals, right? So that is, otherwise if it is not taken care of, there will be no reproduction, there will be no continuity, right? So that's why parental care even after laying egg is also seen in many cases among animals, right? Even the animals which give birth to young ones, they simply do not leave their child as soon as they are born. Yes or no? In case of cow, dog, or any animal, they give birth to their baby, they secrete milk, they nourish them until they are, they have grown enough to live independently, right? So that is it about fertilization, types of fertilization, and development and types of development, either in vivo, either oviparous or viviparous. Okay, so that's it. Okay, that is it. Use of technology in reproduction is there. Young ones and adults, metamorphosis. So next, our next topic is, let me write it down. Are you understanding? Yes. Okay, I think it will finish today only. Still we have time. Use of technology in reproduction. I think use of technology should be made in different video. This can be together, can be made. Metamorphosis. Right? Okay. Please continue.
Yes, madam.
Okay. So I will do the editing video. So our next topic is metamorphosis. Metamorphosis means it is another way of development of the young ones into an adult form. Okay. So in case of metamorphosis, the young ones are not same. Or identical, are not same as their parents. They are different. They look different. For example, in case of butterfly or frog, they undergo metamorphosis. So, butterfly, as you know what happens, how do they reproduce? Butterfly lay eggs, right? After the egg is hatched out, does the butterfly comes out of the egg of the butterfly? No. What does come? What does it come? It comes the caterpillar. Caterpillar is completely different than the butterfly.
Yes.
Yes. So this is what is metamorphosis. In case of metamorphosis, the young ones are not similar in their look as their parent. So they undergo a series of change or a series of transformation during their life cycle. And this process is known as metamorphosis. But other organisms like say the bird, as soon as the egg is hatched out, the baby bird, the chicks, do they look like their mother? Yes, but they are in small size, but they are similar to their parent. So it's not metamorphosis. So the young one look exactly similar to their parents. Even in case of mammal, the cow gives birth to the calf, and calf is similar to its parent. Yes or no? But in case of butterfly, frog or some animal, they undergo a series of change until they reach the adulthood. Okay? So that is in case of a butterfly. The butterfly, they lay egg. So let me write here. The butterfly, they lay egg. The egg is hatched out into caterpillar. The caterpillar eats on leaves and it eats voraciously and grow and becomes pupa or what? Pupa. That's small. They start to undergo molting. Right? So during this process they undergo molting. During molting they form the cocoon. They become the cocoon. And from the cocoon, the butterfly. See? So this series of change occurs.
Yes.
So such process of transformation from their young ones to their adulthood is known as metamorphosis. Likewise, in case of frog also, in case of frog, fertilization is external and the development is also external. And when the baby is born, or the baby of the frog, how it looks like? It looks like fish, means it has a tail also. The name, what is the name? It is called tadpole. Yes, very good. So that tadpole is completely different than its adult structure. Right? So it also undergoes a series of transformation and change, and later it grows as a frog, or it becomes a complete adult structure. So such process is known as metamorphosis. Okay? So thank you so much.